The Boston Celtics are the 2024 NBA Finals champions. It's been 16 long years, but boy, oh boy, was it well worth the wait. From the first game in October to the last game on June 17th, this has been the standard for the Boston Celtics to win the NBA Finals. Brad Stevens put together the most perfect roster he could possibly do, and with the Game 5 win, 106-88, the Boston Celtics blew out the Dallas Mavericks in Boston Celtics fashion, which is exactly what we want to talk about here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. This is our post-game show. Myself, Tyler Smith. We're going to talk about the live stats from Game 5, but we're also just going to talk about the season and what it's meant to myself, to Tyler Smitty, and to Boston Celtics fans. So go on ahead, put your one-word reaction to winning the Boston Celtics NBA Finals. Comment it down below because Banner 18 is officially in TD Garden. My one-word reaction is overdue. Overdue. It was phenomenal. The year that they have had, and the expectation was to win it. Not only was that expectation upheld, but they just absolutely dominated. Look at the NBA Finals, Smith. I mean, you got game 1 through 3 just absolutely dominating, holding the Dallas Mavericks, a very highly efficient team on offense, under 100 points. Then we got to talk about game 4, where the Celtics just completely fumbled the bag.
It's all good.
There was no effort. There was nothing. It was a terrible game. They allowed the Dallas Mavericks just to have their one game not get swept. Then they take it back to game 5. From the jump, it was 110% effort. It was there. They knew that that was their game. They never let the Dallas Mavericks get close to that lead. It was 110% It was 110% the Boston Celtics, and they held them to their lowest score in the NBA Finals as well, 106-88. This was a dominant NBA Finals series. And now we have to talk about what it was like to have the NBA Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown.
Let's go. Shout out, JB.
To hoist the Bill Russell Trophy. He won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and now the NBA Finals MVP,
A lot of hardwood for Jaylen Brown. I can't begin to... And listen, am I going to sit here and say that I've always been 5,000,000% bought into Jaylen Brown? No, there's been some rough patches. But guess what? This guy has gotten better every single season. It culminates in a Finals MVP trophy. He got a $300 million contract last summer. People thought it was a massive overpay. How could you pay Jaylen Brown this money when he's only got one hand? But guess what? He shut all those people up, and he's got a Bill Russell trophy. He's got a Larry Bird trophy, and he's got a Larry O'Brien trophy to show for it. 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in the closeout game. Kind of a Jayson Tatum shooting night for Jaylen Brown as far as these finals go. But guess what? It didn't matter. He played elite defense on Luka Doncic. He made shots when it counted. Talk about Game 3 when the game got tight and Jaylen Brown rises up for a deep 2. Nothing but the bottom of the net that sealed the win. And that might have sealed Jaylen Brown's Finals MVP. He was phenomenal.
I mean, he was just the most consistent. He was constantly showing up here for the Boston Celtics, and not even just through the finals, but through the Eastern Conference Finals, through the Eastern Conference playoffs. I mean, Jaylen Brown showed the world that he deserves to be the highest paid player in the NBA. I saw a skill set that I hadn't seen from Brown before. I saw an aggression level that I haven't seen from Brown before. And I understand a lot of people are thinking, why not Tatum? Why was Tatum not named the Finals MVP?
What a closeout game by him, by
absolutely. That thought crossed my mind, as it should. 31 points, a double-double, nearly a triple-double, which Tatum, who has averaged double-double throughout the NBA playoffs, he even had his phenomenal game in about Game 2 or Game 3 against Dallas Mavericks in terms of scoring, and I think that he is just the train conductor to make the Boston Celtics move as smoothly as they do. But I think at the end of the day, when you played 107 games, playoff games together between Brown and Tatum, they're both just so happy for each other. But I saw another level of play from Tatum where I do think there's another level of respect that Tatum doesn't get just yet. And I think that he cracked that in the NBA Finals, that this is a player where you need to put some respect on his name.
I don't want to look too far ahead, but I think Jayson Tatum has a Finals MVP in his future.
Absolutely.
I think he has room to improve.
He's younger than Brown, so he still has a little bit more time.
Yeah, and this team's going to be together for a while. This
Yeah.
team's going to be contending for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So Jayson Tatum with a phenomenal closeout game. He was attacking the basket. I know he went 1 for 7 from the three-point line, but that one, the Celtics were up big, but it was over. Luka Doncic right in his grill in the fourth quarter. Step back, sidestep, textbook Jayson Tatum.
You needed it.
He won a ring. He rose deuce up in the air like it was the Lion King, and now he raises an NBA Finals trophy for the rest of his life. You can never not call Jayson Tatum a champion for the rest of his life. Phenomenal. You know who you can never not call a champion either?
Al Horford!
Are you kidding me?
186 playoff games without a ring is finally over. 17 seasons in the NBA without a ring is finally over. The 38-year-old Dominican father of 5. And do not reflect what he did tonight, because almost double-double is still phenomenal for a 38-year-old. But he was just the unsung hero when it came to the Boston Celtics, because you allowed him to step up when Kristaps Porzingis was injured.
Yep.
And he stepped up huge in every single series that he was asked to play an enormous amount of minutes for a 38-year-old, which was never supposed to be the plan in the regular season, which is why you probably bring in a 28-year-old Kristaps Porzingis to help out a 38-year-old Al Horford. He has proven to the league that he can still be a dominant player at 38 years old, and he absolutely deserved to win an NBA Finals ring, and I could not be happier for Al Horford.
I mean, you want to look back at the Pacers series. He hit massive shots. You want to look at the Dallas series. He hit massive shots. Talk about this game alone. He was crashing the glass, and all around the Celtics were team rebounding tonight, which is what they needed to get back to after dropping that game 4. Al Horford with, 186 playoff games
186.
Before he won a title. I am elated for Al Horford. I'm going to walk into this office tomorrow wearing my Al Horford jersey.
It, man.
And he deserves it unlike any other. You notice that we've gone through Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Al Horford, guys who have been here since this team started to come to fruition. We'll talk about the guys that they've added through the years in just a moment. But Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP. What do you guys think?
Go ahead and drop your comment down below. Obviously, it's going to be a very controversial topic. You know, everybody has their opinion.
It don't matter, though.
It don't matter at the end of the day, but everybody's going to have their opinion on who they thought should have won the NBA Finals. So go on ahead, MVP. Go on ahead and comment that down below while I tell you guys how you guys can get your merch for the NBA Finals right now. If you want to rock that Boston Celtics NBA champion shirt, go on ahead and go to chatsports.com/NBA champs. This is the shirt that Tatum, Brown, White, Holiday, Horford, Porzingis, and on and on and on were wearing when they were hoisting up Larry O'Brien, the trophy in TD Garden. This is a shirt I'm going to see numerous times as Celtics parade and heading into 2024-25 NBA regular season. This is the type of shirt that you can pass down to generations. I mean, it's timeless, it's classy, it's got the NBA 2024 Finals champions on it. This is the shirt to have if you guys are a Boston Celtics fan. If you guys want 2024 championship gear, go to chatsports.com/NBA champs. You can also get your hat, your hoodie, your sweatpants, whatever you guys want. They've got it right there. Just use that code for me, chatsports.com/NBA champs. It will be linked under this video in the comments section.
Let's talk about the additions that this Boston Celtics roster has made over the years, starting with Derrick White back in 2022, trade deadline acquisition. Brad Stevens stole him for a bag of chips. Sorry, Josh Richardson. But Derrick White joins this team, and they go to the NBA Finals in 2022. You could tell immediately that he was a difference maker, and 2 years later after that, he's an NBA champion as well, and he was making those differences all the same, blocking shots at the rim, hitting threes when he's asked to at a 50% clip in the closeout game. You don't, like, this guy lost a tooth! He lost a tooth! By diving on the floor, because you know Derrick White's going to give you 110% effort every single game, and he did it again tonight.
He's improved so much from the 2022-23 season or 2023.
2021-22.
Yeah. Since that year, you know what I'm talking about. And that's saying a lot because this is the guy that had the game-winning shot to take it to Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals versus the Miami Heat last year. But Derrick White shaved off his head. And I saw this tweet from Greenberg way earlier in the year talking about bald-headed Derrick White is going to change lives this season. And he 110% did. The Boston Celtics have a good one with Derrick White, and I do hope they end up paying him his money.
I agree. You want to talk about a guy who's also made big shots? We talked about Al Horford before. Derrick White, when he catches that thing in the corner, like, this guy is just unbelievable. He gets the ball up so quick. He's always in the right spot, always making the right plays, and he's done the thing, man. He's an integral championship piece.
Absolutely, and somebody else that was that, honestly, he had the stats to be this type of player in Washington, but didn't have the resources around him to be a champion. He comes to Boston, and he's the missing puzzle piece. Holiday can also be used as that description as well, but Porzingis, man, when he got traded, I was ultimately like, wow, Kristaps Porzingis, he's a good player in Washington. I never, ever dreamed that he could be this missing link for the Boston Celtics when he was traded. I did not know his ceiling was that high, and the fact that he has one of the rarest leg injuries the NBA has ever seen, and he continued to play through Game 5 to be on that court to help them win. I mean, this guy is a definition of a dog.
It does feel good, right, that Porzingis was able to share this moment and make an impact out there. I mean, he had a pair of good buckets, getting the feed on a big, emphatic dunk that was nice. But all season long, this guy transformed the Celtics. He made them a true 5-out offense. And on the defensive end, he changes everything. He makes the Celtics so able to switch on screens. He protects the rim. He can guard one-on-one. He can create his own shot off the dribble. I mean, you trade Marcus Smart, the heart and soul of this organization.
Tough trade.
9 years. For basically a decade, this guy was on the team. But Brad Stevens saw something out there. He saw a low-hanging fruit in Porzingis, a guy who could transform this team, and he brings him in, and they get the job done in large part because of him. The Celtics, when you think about what takes them over the top, it's a guy like Kristaps Porzingis.
Well, I remember going back to how Brad Stevens found Porzingis, and it was actually the Washington Wizards game versus the Celtics when he dropped a 30-piece. And Brad Stevens didn't forget that. He was like, I want that player on my team. And he went out and he did the damn thing. And like you said, a very controversial trade to do as a very early president for the Boston Celtics organization, and it very much paid off. And then he does it again in September. Smith, I remember sitting at a bar with you guys talking about there's no way in hell Brad Stevens gets Jrue Holiday. They just can't.
I'm not going to lie. I think I remember this at that bar right now. I was locked in. I said, we're getting Holiday.
And I'm like, there's no way we get Holiday. He just got Porzingis. There's no way we can actually pull off a Jrue Holiday trade as well.
I thought other teams would have outbid us for him, but shout out Joe Cronin and shout out Nick Roloff as well, because he hates Joe Cronin and the Portland Trailblazers. They deal us Jrue Holiday, and that's their Marcus Smart replacement. I mean, no shade to Smart, but Jrue Holiday at the end of the day is just a better version of Marcus Smart. And another guy who's in the right place at the right time all the time. An underrated rebounder, 11 boards in the closeout game. That's not even. He
really is.
That's not even the only double-digit rebound game that he's had in this series.
That counts to his O boards as well. I mean, he cleans the glass offensively. He gave the Celtics numerous second chances here with his aggression, his scrappiness. I mean, Jrue, I was a fan of him in Milwaukee, but obviously the spotlight gets put on the superstar that is Giannis. Naturally, Giannis is a phenomenal player, but then you bring Jrue, and it's just mere. Does he not get blinded by another shadow, by a Tatum shadow or a Brown?
You don't care.
No, Holiday is, we put it in our poll here tonight. Who's your finals MVP? Holiday made an effort to be in that conversation.
That
26-point
game
did not shy away from the Tatum and Brown shadow, which could be very hard to do. And even Porzingis made a name for himself this year. Derrick White becoming an All-NBA defensive player. Jrue Holiday was still his own person on this Celtics basketball team. There were no egos. Yeah, and Holiday could have came in and said, I'm Holiday. I have a ring. I know how to do this. And he didn't. Holiday came in and said, all I'm here to do is help you guys win a ring.
Yep.
And that's what he did.
That, and you say that kind of ego that he could have had coming in.
Absolutely.
That's what Kyrie Irving had back in 2017 when he got traded to this team. He couldn't handle that he was the only person in the room with a ring, and he had to be able to take over, and he had to make it all about him. Jrue Holiday is the complete polar opposite of that. I couldn't be more happy with the effort that he's given us and just the overall poise that he has as a champion already. He wins his second ring. Borderline Hall of Famer for this guy. I mean, he's the all-defensive teams, it's hard to count on one hand how many he has, and he continues at age 33, is he now? Maybe 34?
Yeah.
He just earned himself a 4-year contract extension this season. I hope Jrue Holiday is a Celtic for the rest of his career. Couldn't be happier that he's a member of this team.
I couldn't either. And for the next 4 years, too, Brad Stevens knows when to give a contract extension, and he does it in a very timely fashion. So just one last time, want to compare
talk about the closeout game real quick.
Celtics versus the Mavericks in a closeout game, because I want it to be known that my finals prediction was 105-88. And the final score was 106-88.
Pretty
Yes,
good
I know,
stuff.
Ball. Thank
Pretty
you
good
very
stuff.
much. But the Celtics came out. Their three ball was dominant. 43% with 33% from the field. I mean, it was just unbelievable what they were able. 42% from the field, 33% from a three-point line. It was just unbelievable.
They out-rebounded the Mavericks. They out-assisted the Mavericks. And at the end of the day, it looks like this might not be the case when it was all said and done, but they shot more threes than the Mavericks. What have we been saying this whole time?
You just have to shoot more threes.
Just got to get more up. You'll make more. 3-point variance. It is the key as far as this team goes to winning an NBA championship. Mazzulla ball to the moon. We haven't talked much about Mazzulla in this video, but shout out to him as well for instilling the confidence in this team to when they're not even when they're not hitting as many, just keep getting them up. When you're open, get them up because they're going to go down eventually. Shout out to Joe Mazzulla and the confidence that he's instilled in this team.
And I mean, even still, like the Dallas Mavericks were a very efficient rim protectors in the last 20 regular season games.
They were.
They dominated the Minnesota Timberwolves in terms of how they got to clean the glass and their second chances. And the Boston Celtics just did everything textbook, man. They just did everything textbook to beat the Dallas Mavericks in Game 5. And
quickly on Luka Doncic real quick. You see 12 of 25, another 2 of 9 from 3, by the way. He was terrible from beyond the arc.
For the whole series, really.
Whole series.
He and
I haven't seen
Kyrie.
the full number. I haven't seen the full number yet of him shooting from 3 in this series, but it can't be more than 30%. It actually can't. And you see the 12 of 25, that's a decent shooting night for Doncic. Most of those buckets honestly came when the Celtics were already up 25 in the fourth quarter. He was not good tonight, and that's a testament to the defense of Jaylen Brown, the defense of Jrue Holiday.
110%.
And even a guy like Al Horford, even Sam Hauser, who's providing good closeouts. Porzingis had a phenomenal defensive possession on him in the first half. This is a guy who can win a finals by himself, but the Celtics just had too many bodies that prevented him from doing it.
They did. I mean, Luke is a phenomenal player, and I do believe an NBA championship should be in his future because he is that type of celebrity. So he's also still a very young type of player that I do think his time will be soon. I honestly look at the Mavericks how I look at the 2022 Boston Celtics.
Yeah, they're similar.
Just don't think that stage was meant for them just yet because I don't think if the Celtics didn't make it in 2022, they would not have that aggression and that accomplishment that they're having right now because I mean,
you got to go through it.
You got to go through it to come out on top. I think the Mavericks are just getting started. So
and guess what? Your Boston Celtics went through it
and came out on top.
NBA champs.
Yes, sir. As always, feel free to hit that sub button for me if you guys have not already. I know the Boston Celtics are your NBA Finals champions, but the offseason starts tomorrow. So with that being said, go on ahead, hit that sub button for me. We're going to go live once a week in the offseason to get you guys up to date with the latest Boston Celtics information. As always, go Boston Celtics and hit that sub button for me.